What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining me on these analysis. We're going to be looking at MSTR, Bitcoin, different indicators and different charts today. Today we had our weekly close. We closed at 383.88. Pretty much we haven't gone anywhere since the week of April 28th. Just absolute sideways chop. Pretty low volume for the most part. Today's volume was a little bit higher than the average volume. I believe the average volume is about 10 million. I think we had 14 million. So it's a good sign that we had a little bit more volume, but we definitely need to see a lot more than that if we want to see a sharp move to the upside. Like I said prior, we have a bull flag within the bull flag. So on this mini bull flag here, still takes us to the middle of the channel. And of course, on the larger scale, you can see we have a much bigger bull flag. If you take it here, depends if you want to take it to here to make it, I guess, more realistic. If you take it to the bottom, then sitting around 900. If you take it to the top, of course, that's going to extend the move a little bit higher. And that's going to give you that price target of 1,000 to around 1,200, roughly. And that kind of lines up with the Fibonacci levels as well. Things are still looking pretty good, though, overall, especially when you pull Fib from here to here. On this leg, you can see we're just pretty much hovering above the 382, and we're playing right on and underneath the 236, and we found resistance off of this key golden zone that we keep speaking about. Again, getting a little old, seeing this damn golden zone keeping us down consistently. 0.5 to 618. This thing has just continuously pushed us back down. We pushed up earlier in the day. We made it up to 398. So this was a pretty solid move. I was like, oh man, this is looking pretty good. And we ended up finishing the day bearish and in the red. Yeah, we had a nice little spike in volume and momentum, and then it just died out completely. If we could have held that move, that would have been nice. But we are getting to the point where we're really compressing tighter and tighter, because we're getting to the point where this downward sloping trend line is meeting this upward sloping trend line in the bottom of the channel. And eventually price is going to have to make a decision at some point, because once you continue to chop here, you're going to have to break out eventually. It's going to have to pick a direction. So it's going to have to either break down through this key level of support, retest and come down, and then we fall out of the channel. Hopefully not. I definitely hope that's not the case. But if it is, then there's nothing we can do. And the other option, of course, is chopping the same way and then finally breaking out and battling this golden zone, this major level, and eventually breaking out and pushing up higher. So that's kind of where I see things going at the moment. It's just really sideways. We haven't gone anywhere. On a daily perspective, you can see we've been in the same spot since May 1st, around there. May 1st, May 6th, we kind of have been sitting in the same spot ever since this move up from April 8th, April 9th. On the weekly SMAs, we're still holding well above our 20, so this is looking pretty good right now. Let's see if we actually end up coming into contact with it, or if we can take off before the SMA gets there. And here on the daily SMAs, you can see the 50 actually overtook the 20. So you want to see the 20 take back over the 50. The 50 is just showing that the overall trend is bullish, but the 20 showing that it's a little sideways chopping at the moment. So once we can get the 20 to start taking off, then that's going to show that the short-term move is more bullish. So that's what we're kind of waiting for at the moment. When we look at global liquidity, we're still looking at a move to the upside, still looking good. Overall, we're just, like I said, we're creating a bull flag. We're deviating from this move, but it's not like we haven't done that in the past before. This is nothing new. Like I said, it's correlated anywhere from 75 to 80, 85% of the time. So remember, 25% of the time, that's a quarter, pretty much a quarter of the time to, maybe 20% of the time. that you're going to be deviating. So this is that time. So eventually I do think we will fall back in line with global liquidity and continue to follow it. But for now, we're kind of just chopping and compressing. But I do think an explosive move will either come to the downside or to the upside, hopefully to the upside. And we can continue holding our trend line and this channel. And hopefully we can make this third move here. As we can see, we have one there, the second one there, and then hopefully we can make this third move a reality. That's what we want to see. That's what we're looking at with the bull flag and the Fibonacci levels, kind of calling for that target up there. That's what we're hoping for. That's what we're looking for. On Bitcoin, we still have 2 days before we get a weekly close. The best case scenario would be closing back above this range here on this smaller time frame. Let me zoom in here on the daily. If we can get a daily close above 110 or at 110, that would be extremely bullish. Right now, we're kind of just chopping sideways, but overall, it's still incredibly bullish. A nice bull flag, like I previously said. When you measure that out, it's very, very textbook right now. It's looking very good. That takes you to that 145, 146 level. Extremely bullish. Here on the daily, bull flag looks even better. It looks even more textbook when you look at it. You can connect these bottoms and you can see that it looks perfect. Looking very, very good. And even if you wanted to see a smaller bull flag here, you can see a flag pattern here. And if you measure that one out from the bottom, that takes you right to about 117, which coincides with this upward sloping trend line that we're speaking of, which we are saying is the last line of resistance that connects to the 2021 double top, as well as the previous highs in 2024 and 2025. That bull flag takes us right to that target, coincidentally. So this mini bull flag takes us right to that. When you measure it out, of course, it doesn't have to play out like that, but just something to take into consideration. But things are looking pretty good overall. Let's see if we can get a 4-hour close. A 4-hour close above this white line. We did, and then we fell and deviated back down. But let's see once we get another one if we can push past 108.3, and then we can see about 109. And that's going to be our next level of resistance. And if we can surpass that, then I see us making it to the top of this range, which would be this gray box up here. On the 4-hour here on Bitcoin, you can see that we fell underneath our 4-hour 20 moving average, and now we are fighting to hold it. So hopefully we get a close above 107.1 tonight at 8 p.m. It's currently 6:56 where I'm at. So if we can get a close above that and eventually push up higher, that would be ideal. But right now we're still holding our 200. Even if we fall underneath the 20, it's not a big deal. But it would be nice to get a close above that tonight. On the MACD for the daily, we're still continuing our move to the upside. We still got our next flip. So like I said previously, last time we got a flip over here in that around the midline or in bearish territory, we had a pretty solid move to the upside. So hopefully we can see something like that again, and we can see a nice green hill like this one here. Tether dominance is still trending higher at the moment. As you can see, we have two trend lines established. We have a pretty narrow one, and then we have one that's less steep. So as you can see, once we break this trend line to the downside, I would imagine that once we can do something like that, then we will see this trend line here, and then hopefully we can break that one and then fall underneath this horizontal level of support. And as I said previously, this is showing risk off to risk on. As this is going up, it's risk off. As it goes down, it's risk on. So if you want to see a major move in Bitcoin, we have to see a move on tether dominance continue down as so. And then once we touch the blue line, that could be potentially a local top for the time being. Could be the cycle top, could be a local top. We don't know what's going to happen. It could be an extended move, especially when you take a look at global liquidity. Global liquidity continues to put in higher highs, in higher lows. So it could be an extended move as long as economic conditions hold up pretty well for the time being. But that's something to remember. And finally, when we take a look here at ETH Bitcoin, Ether versus Bitcoin, this is a kind of like a heads up for alt season. When it continues down, that's not going to be when alt season happens. It's going to be when we get a breakout to the upside. We want to see a move like this, where we push up like that. That's going to be a leading sign for alt season. Once you see one of the largest altcoins taking off, then the smaller ones will begin to follow. But that probably won't happen until the Fed starts to increase their balance sheet. So we're kind of stuck in this downward sloping trend line for the time being. Right now it's looking pretty bearish overall, the trend. And when you take a look here on the major leg here, you can see this is a very bearish sign. We got a rejection off the 382 multiple times, and we're pushing down, getting rejection off the 236, showing a continuation to the downside. So it looks like ETH will continue to bleed to Bitcoin for now. And when you take a look on a smaller scale for this little bull flag, this is a bullish sign on this small scale, because it's a push up. We pulled back to the 0.5618, the golden retracement zone. It increases the likelihood of a continuation to the upside. So we're getting a bounce off of this, but we have a major level of rejection with this downward sloping trend line. So more than likely we push up and then we end up falling through, because this large move is going to overtake this little bit of bullishness, because you have a minor bullish Fibonacci with a major bearish Fibonacci, which is more than likely going to overpower it to the downside. But overall, still bullish on MSTR. It's just chopping sideways. I don't think anything's really changed. We're in the same spot that we've been in for a while now. So hopefully we can start to get some momentum and volume to the upside, and we can start to see that next leg up at least halfway, hopefully, before we start to chop. But I still think there's upside for MSTR. Like and subscribe, share with a friend. I'll see you guys in the next one.